News!
Okay, we'll start with this. On the heels of her big world title win this past weekend, Sandy Ryan took to her social media and stated quite plainly, "Let's go, JD Mac, i.e. Jessica McCaskill, the only other champion at this weight, and in many ways, what still is, the woman to beat at 147 pounds. She's got a mandatory challenger to satisfy in Ivana Habazin, and I think she's going to make it through that fight. I do.
You can't let the Chantel Cameron fight fool you into thinking that Jessica's washed up. That was a bad stylistic matchup for a pressure fighter like Jessica McCaskill.
There were a lot of things in play in that fight, a lot of factors. You know, it was a bad stylistic matchup for a pressure fighter like Jessica McCaskill. Opposite the ring, a boxer-puncher who can box and punch.
Yeah.
It's all in the name. That's the virtue of the boxer-puncher. They can alternate, whereas the pressure fighter...
There's only one way a pressure fighter goes about fighting a fight, and that's applying pressure. They don't change much.
So in Chantel, you had a fighter that had a stylistic advantage who's some years younger than Jessica McCaskill. On that Jessica had to go down in weight for this fight. It wasn't at welterweight, it was at super lightweight.
Jessica McCaskill hadn't made that weight in some time.
Those things in mind, I think Jessica will get back to her winning ways opposite the ring, Ivana Habazin, who I'm really not high on. I'm not a fan of her boxing. It's opposite the ring Sandy Ryan that Jessica McCaskill will be pushed, will be challenged, because Sandy Ryan, like Chantel Cameron, she's a boxer-puncher, and a big one. Perhaps greener than Chantel Cameron was. Yes, greener, but bigger.
And younger.
If Jessica beats Ivana Habazin, and I'm betting she will, this is at least one major fight that she can have to reassume the throne as this division's undisputed champion. Sandy has the only other belt that isn't on the line in her upcoming fight, Jessica's upcoming fight.
You know, Jessica's already been there and done that with Katie Taylor. She's fought Cecilia Brækhus 2 times.
She fought Chantel Cameron. She already fought Chantel Cameron. This is one of the few big fights that she can have at or around these weights. The name of Natasha Jonas almost immediately comes to mind, but I don't get the sense that Team McCaskill has much of a relationship with Ben Shalom and Boxer.
Even if that would be a decent fight to make, I don't get the sense that the network relationship is very good between Rick Ramos and Ben Shalom, making a Sandy Ryan fight, a Sandy Ryan showdown, that much more likely.
Interesting components in association with that potential matchup is that it would be at welterweight, which is a better weight for Jessica than 140 pounds was. Just as well, Sandy is a boxer-puncher like Chantel Cameron, but she is greener than Chantel Cameron.
She's a lot taller, too.
The discrepancy in height between the fighters. You know, Jessica McCaskill, she likes to bob and weave and roll her way within striking distance, bringing over looping shots, overhand rights. A taller fighter like a Sandy Ryan, if they're not careful, they might get caught.
That's what's working for Jessica.
That the fight with Sandy would be at a better weight for her than the fight with Chantel was, and that Sandy's not as experienced as Chantel was. Now, what's working for Sandy is that she is bigger than Jessica. She's younger. She's got good power. She's got the right style for the job. The boxer-puncher can alternate from being the aggressor to being the defender. Opposite the ring, Jessica McCaskill, who is smaller and older, it would behoove Sandy Ryan to use her height, use her reach, to keep Jessica out, keep her at arm's length, because what Jessica wants to do is get mid-range to inside and trade punches, turn it into a war. Thus, it doesn't behoove Sandy to sell out every single time Jessica approaches.
Fight her off when you need to fight her off.
But mitigate how many exchanges you get drawn into.
Saw in the Farias fight that Sandy Ryan, if she's not careful, she can become flustered by an aggressive opponent, particularly a smaller, stumpier opponent.
Tidied things up in the rematch, decided to stick and move, box and punch, use the ring, move around. Valuable experience, invaluable experience for a fight like this, just like this weekend's fight with Marie-Pierre Huel. Marie-Pierre Huel is a pressure fighter, the same as Jessica.
Just greener.
She is a lot less experienced than Jessica McCaskill.
There's a decent-sized payday on the other side of an Ivana Habazin fight for Jessica. All she must do is make it through it.
Through Ivana Habazin, who's a bit slow and flat-footed. Nothing really stands out.
She's plenty experienced, she is. She used to be an IBF welterweight champion years ago, but years later...
I think Jessica powers through her. The same way she powered through Alma Ibarra is the same way I expect her to power through Ivana Habazin. It's the Sandy Ryan fight.
That's the fight that's going to push her.
Jessica's supposed to be fighting Ivana Habazin sometime in either June or July, I believe it is. And if she wins, you can set up the Sandy Ryan fight for either the fall or winter months. We'll see if that's how this cookie crumbles.
If Jessica wins, we're in for a war.
A war later on this year. At least she is, because she'll be opposite the ring.
Big Sandy.
Shakur gonna be the one that stops it. Think so? I lost a lot of money in the night. I know. I still lost. I don't know, man. That was a hard body shot, dog. Like, it is what it is, man. Man, Javante was a better man tonight. I'm officially a Javante St. Davis fan.
Don't agree with a lot of things Jermall Charlo says, and I don't agree with a lot of things Jermall Charlo does, but I have to agree here. I myself on this channel, on a number of occasions in the past, have already stated myself, I'd pick Shakur Stevenson to play with today's Gervonta Davis, who didn't impress me by taking out...
Wasn't impressive.
You want me to pretend that I'm impressed? I knew he was going to stop Ryan. I said he was going to stop Ryan. What do you want?
Wasn't impressive.
The catch weight is one thing. The rehydration clause is another. Normally after a weigh-in, the fighters and their teams, they go have a big dinner to get some nourishment, some fluids in their bodies. Ryan Garcia was not allowed to do that the day of the fight because there was another weigh-in in the morning.
That's not the kind of stuff you can ignore.
Doesn't get to rehydrate properly, takes a big body shot, a clean one, he was unable to recover from. There's been a lot of talk about Ryan Garcia and how, at least in the eyes of a few, he quit.
I don't know that I'm on board with that.
Body shots, body shots. In a general sense, they can take the fight out of you, but when you tack on that the fighter didn't get to rehydrate properly,
that makes the shot that much harder to absorb, that much harder to recover from.
Now, if you want to ignore these aforementioned factors, be my guest, but don't expect me to do that.
Jermall says that Shakur's the one to beat Gervonta Davis. I have to agree with him.
Gervonta's got no advantages in that fight. No advantages. Shakur is the taller, longer fighter, the rangier fighter with speed of his own. He fights out of the southpaw stance the same as Gervonta, but he has a stylistic advantage. He's a pure boxer.
And not just any pure boxer.
I've often said here on the channel that Gervonta Davis is a capable counterpuncher, but for the most part, he doesn't create opportunities, he capitalizes on them. Waiting for his opponent to make mistakes, like Rolly Romero when he lunged in, like Ryan Garcia.
He lunged in too.
As tall as he is and as long as he is, he didn't use that to his advantage. He gave up his height. That's how he got dropped the first time and the second. Got caught in the heat of the exchange.
Didn't stay long range.
Like Shakur Stevenson would. Shakur Stevenson is a capable enough fighter that he can mix it up mid-range to inside, but he can win boring. He can win long distance, long range, behind his jab. If he has to, and opposite the ring, Shakur Stevenson,
Gervonta Davis wouldn't have the same countering opportunities that he had with Leo Santa Cruz and Hector Garcia, Ryan Garcia.
He wouldn't. One of the characteristics, the defining characteristics of a pure boxer is that when push comes to shove, they can tighten up enough that there ain't no opportunities because they're not giving you any.
There's nothing to counter.
And at that point, you've got to go out there and create those opportunities with decoy punches and conditioning, getting a guy looking at one hand to set him up for the other.
That wouldn't work against Shakur, though.
Gervonta Davis not being a prolific puncher, a busy puncher.
He's got no advantages in this fight. He's the shortest, stumpiest fighter.
You could give him the edge in power, but a fighter's power, their power, is only as powerful as their ability to land. And if this guy don't give you no countering opportunities, your power don't matter. Your power can be taken away.
I don't actually think that Gervonta Davis is going to fight Shakur Stevenson, or Devin Haney for that matter, or the winner of Haney versus Lomachenko. I don't.
You saw Leonard Ellerbe and Floyd Mayweather in Gervonta Davis's corner. You know, they got the whole gang back together.
And I remember it was Floyd Mayweather who suggested that both Shakur Stevenson and Devin Haney leave his guy alone and fight each other. Just let Gervonta do his thing. Do you remember that?
Those two guys are credible threats to Gervonta Davis's entire illusion.
Floyd knows that.
Even if Gervonta Davis is casual, fans don't. Even if they don't want to accept that he's not who people think he is, and he's not what they say he is. You know, these guys get really upset whenever you say that either Shakur or Devin would beat Gervonta Davis, even when you're not talking to them.
What are you getting so bent out of shape for?
You want I should pick whoever you pick to win a fight based on what you think? I don't give a fuck what you think.
The fuck?
These guys come out of the woodwork whenever you pick somebody to beat Gervonta Davis, somebody like a Devin Haney, somebody like a Shakur Stevenson, like you're supposed to argue about it, like you're supposed to justify.
What the hell's wrong with these guys?
Not up for debate. You can pick whoever you like and see if I give a rat's ass.
I won't.
They like to call a guy to face a boxer, and then they get upset when you point out that he doesn't sell the most in America, he doesn't make the most money.
How's he to face a boxing if there's somebody in this country selling more than he is?
On his own platform, no less. Canelo Alvarez sold 800,000 pay-per-view buys with Caleb Plant on the Showtime platform. The Showtime platform that Gervonta Davis is exclusive to. Whereas the ballpark estimates for the Ryan Garcia fight, they're in the neighborhood of 600 to 700,000, which isn't bad.
But you needed Ryan Garcia to do that. You needed Ryan Garcia to help you sell that, whereas Canelo sold more than that off his name alone.
800,000 with Caleb Plant in 2021, over 1 million with Gennady Golovkin in their trilogy in 2022. They won't accept it.
They get mad whenever you stick to the facts. They actually get upset when you point that out.
If Gervonta Davis is the face of boxing in America, then why didn't he get a Super Bowl commercial like Canelo did?
Gervonta Davis's fans aren't gonna like this.
So you're the face of boxing, but you make less than Canelo Alvarez, sell less, you don't get a Super Bowl commercial, a prime spot like Canelo did, and you're the face of boxing.
It's not just Canelo, you know. Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk, Anthony Joshua, they all make more than Gervonta Davis. So how is he the face?
He isn't. Not the face of boxing. Maybe he's the face of PBC boxing.
But not all of boxing, and not even boxing in America.
They get upset whenever you point this out, even though it's the truth. It's the truth until further notice. They get upset when they hear this, and I've no doubts they'll get upset when they hear me say that I would pick Shakur Stevenson to beat Gervonta Davis comfortably. It's an easy pick.
Yeah, I'm settled on that one.
It's an easy one. You buy into all the smoke and mirrors they prop up at the PBC like a rehydration clause for Ryan Garcia. You need a rehydration clause.
That's ridiculous.
Do you think Shakur Stevenson would need a rehydration clause to beat Ryan Garcia? Do you think Devin Haney would?
Gervonta Davis did. You tell me why they bothered to put that into the contract.
Why was that necessary? Can't you just beat this guy fair?
You fought at 140 before, and so did he.
And this fight wasn't for your Mickey Mouse belt at 135.
Bottom line, I'd pick Shakur to beat this guy.
Beat him easy.
Finally, just to add insult to injury, Isaac Pitbull Cruz, who would have been a common opponent between Ryan and Gervonta Davis, he took to his social media and via his Instagram story stated, "Hey, Ryan Garcia, if I'm a C-class fighter, then what are you, a Z-class fighter? Ha, 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 ha."
Maybe he is, but you're still the guy that turned him down. You could have been the one to give Ryan Garcia his first professional loss. This is commonplace among PBC fighters, celebrating other fighters' victories as if they were their own.
You didn't beat Ryan Garcia on Saturday night.
Nope.
Gervonta Davis beat Ryan Garcia on Saturday night. A year before that, you could have shared the ring with him. They offered you $1 million. Your promoter, Sean Gibbons, he turned it down, playing the sides of the street game.
As if Isaac Pitbull Cruz were the A-side to Ryan Garcia.
And who the hell has he fought since then? All he's done is turn down notoriable fights with notoriable fighters, like Ryan Garcia, like Shakur Stevenson, Michelle Rivera.
I'd say there's an opportunity for redemption here for Ryan, when the truth is, Ryan is going up to 140 pounds, and Isaac Pitbull Cruz is navigating quite carefully in today's lightweight division. It seems to me that what he's trying to do is position himself to pick up the IBF title should it become vacant, should it become available, beyond the Devin Haney versus Vasyl Lomachenko fight.
Where Isaac is staying at 135, Ryan is going up to 140.
And even with this loss, Ryan Garcia is still the A-side to Isaac Pitbull Cruz. He's worth a lot more money.
Isaac ain't got no leverage over that guy. So if they tried to make the fight, ideally, it would be on Ryan's terms, on Ryan's platform. But the way Sean Gibbons is playing it, he thinks this Isaac Pitbull Cruz guy has got some kind of bargaining power when he's just an undercard fighter.
Yeah.
It's not like he's moved on to headline his own shows since the Davis fight.
It's not like he picked up a title. It's not like he fought a signature fight and won it.
His signature fight is a fight that he lost, and you could argue that Isaac did a lot better in the ring with Gervonta Davis than Ryan Garcia did, but I don't think Isaac had a rehydration clause or a catch weight in play like Ryan did.
He didn't.
There's money to be made in a Ryan Garcia versus Isaac Cruz fight. There is, and you probably can give Isaac reasonable odds to knock out Ryan Garcia. Maybe you can, but it's worth nothing if they don't go through with the fight, if they don't do it. And I don't think they are.
Isaac's more comfortable balking from behind the fence, the PBC fence that he stays behind.
Even worse, worse is that he's not fighting the guys that are on his own side of the fence. The guys like Michel Rivera and Frank Martin.
And what about that De Los Santos guy, the Dominican one that gave Rayo his first professional loss? Who has Isaac Cruz actually been fighting since he fought Gervonta Davis?
Even with the politics and the whole side of the street deal, there are guys on your side of the street that you're not fighting.
It's useless.
So that he can kick Ryan Garcia when he's down. Ryan Garcia, his people, who actually offered Isaac a fight that he turned down. I think that says a lot about Isaac's character, or the lack thereof. That if you really wanted to show this guy how you feel, you could have did it in the ring.
You could have made some money.
As it stands, you turned the fight down, you let somebody else get their paws on that guy, and they got to make some money. And you got to make some snarky comments.
Congratulations.
When's your next big fight? Whose undercard are you going to be fighting on?
I don't think Isaac Cruz would go up to 140 pounds to fight Ryan Garcia there. I don't. I get the sense that they've got a plan for this Garden Gnome.
He's just another pawn on the PBC's chessboard, and I reiterate, I think they're trying to get that guy in position to pick up the IBF title should it become available, depending on what happens between Vasyl Lomachenko and Devin Haney. That if Devin Haney should win and then move up in weight and vacate those titles, Isaac will be in position to pick one up, at least one.
The IBF title.
The red belt. That's if Devin Haney wins, and that's if Devin Haney vacates. Now, if Vasyl Lomachenko wins, well, we know he's not going up to 140. So how interested will Isaac Cruz be then if he becomes this division's undisputed champion and he has the red belt? Would he cross over to Top Rank to do that fight?
They offered this bozo $1 million to fight Ryan Garcia. You think he's going to go to Top Rank to fight Vasyl Lomachenko?
There are fights out there for Isaac, lots of fights. A fight with Ryan Garcia, a fight with William Zepeda, a fight with Frank Martin, a fight with De Los Santos.
There's fights out there for that guy, but he's not fighting those fights.
Not fighting in them. And don't get it in your head that every single fighter of Mexican descent will have the same Mexican support that a Canelo Alvarez has. Canelo has that support because he fights the fights, win or lose, whereas Isaac, he just seems to avoid them.
He'll stay an undercard fighter until that changes.
It's as simple as that.